Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
It's What's on Tap podcast time, your weekly beer review podcast.
Are we really back? How can we be sure?
Well, we're here recording. Our voices are being picked up by an auditory receptor device.
What if no one listens?
I mean, that is very plausible. If a tree falls in a wood and no one hears it, does it make a sound?
Exactly.
Right. If two idiots podcast a beer review
and no
one listens, does it make a sound?
We can always count on Björn of Björn.
At least one person out there is listening to us.
At least one.
Yeah.
So today we have a weird lineup. We have one beer with very low potential and one beer with very high potential. Let's see
which one holds up to which.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see which one surprises. I think that's actually the theme of the episode.
Yes. So the first beer is Beerium BFG 2025. Wait, does this mean that they have an annual release? Is there a 2024 and 2023 release?
I don't think so.
Or is this the first year?
Beerium is...
What are you doing with your life? Why haven't you looked this up yet? I need answers.
Don't know. No, I think this is the first year that they're doing BFG. So Beerium is let's call them a Stockholm-based brewery, but there's a bit of mystery. They might be a contract brewery.
Are we putting quotes around that? There doesn't really have a city on here, so
exactly.
But there is a. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. So beer, I've had a large number of Beerium. They keep hitting Systembolagets assortment where you can order it to your local store. And they're not the best Swedish brewery, but they're not the worst. They've made a lot of okay beers. So BFG, it says that it stands for Beeriums Friendly Giant. So then that means it's a Roald Dahl Big Friendly Giant reference.
I would think so, yes.
But when I ordered it, I thought it was a Doom reference to Big Fucking Gun. Because the BFG, 4000, is the ultimate weapon in Doom, the game series.
But to be fair, it says it's best when playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, exactly. The pairing notes are actually...
The reference would be, more accurate.
Maybe. The pairing note is actually Dungeons and Dragons, which in Swedish is called Drakar och Demoner, which means dragons and demons. And before we hit record, we had this discussion. Why would you translate Dungeons and Dragons to dragons and demons? But that's because dungeon in Swedish, it doesn't have any pull. It's a lame word. Fängelsehåla is one, but meh, it doesn't work. And you need that D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. But it's an interesting pairing. It's not a really food pairing.
No, that's true. It's the first time I haven't seen a food pairing. It's a game pairing. But also, I question how many Dungeons and Dragons people are drinking 11% stouts.
Exactly. And now you got the ABV into the episode.
Because that was really the thing that perplexed me the most. That they recommended playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then it's 11% stout. So the two don't quite equate.
So the color on it is amazing. It's really dark. It had a little bit of carbonation when you poured it, but now it's difficult to even... you can agitate it if you really try. The smell is a little bit like nail polish remover.
I get a lot of licorice and shoe polish, really hard roasted malts here. I expect this to be an extremely licoricey, hard roasted beer.
Me too. The can doesn't say any adjunct, so let's pretend that it has none. Cheers.
Yep. There's a lot of hard roasting on that.
A lot of licorice.
It's still pretty sweet, almost like there's a lot of milk sugar or something in here.
I was completely wrong. They're not from Stockholm at all. They're from Surte. They're from western Sweden. It's closer to Gothenburg.
I need to find a better co-host on seeing this.
Beerium, yeah.
That's your new stuff. You don't know shit about dick, apparently.
Exactly. Beeriums.
I will admit, this is actually pretty good. It gives me a lot of the hard roasted, like I said, dark licorice, hard malt kind of finish that I really like on just a straight up, almost Russian imperial style stout. I would say.
Yeah. So now I'll fill in the gaps. They have been making this since 2022. 2022, 3, 4, and now 5. And I had it in 2022, apparently. That's when it didn't have a vintage at all.
Yeah.
And they've made a coffee variant as well at some point.
That must be insane. Because the last thing this beer needs is it's coffee.
And that was in 2021, apparently. So
I feel like there's already kind of a coffee-esque nature to this beer.
Yeah.
Adding coffee to it, I think, would not be a benefit at all.
No. So 5 years, but only 4 years with this recipe, apparently. The first year was with coffee.
Okay. So what do you think?
Yeah, it is better than I expected.
Yeah.
It falls into the territory of a lot of Swedish stouts made by not the most hyped breweries fall into this licorice. It never pops.
Okay.
It's acceptable.
It's acceptable. Oh, wow. Do you feel maybe you're being a little biased because of the brewery itself? Maybe you're downplaying it because it's not a hyped brewery? Because I've seen you kind of give breweries that are more hyped create the same kind of beer and give it a higher rating.
Maybe. I would need to try them side by side.
All right.
This is a 375 for me.
Oh, it's still higher than I thought you were going to. The tone of your voice was much more down than I thought.
So you're also going to give it the 375?
No, I was actually going to give it a 4, almost a 4.25.
Oh, wow.
I think they've done an excellent job here. I think that just as a base beer, it's really solid. I think they could really go in a number of different ways with some adjuncts and some barrel aging on this and really do something kind of interesting. I quite enjoy how hard the malts are roasted because it really gives it, I think, some texture that I quite enjoy because it's not boring. The worst thing that I hate is a milquetoast imperial stout where they've just kind of half-assed, roasted the malts and the mouthfeel is unbalanced and everything, but I think they've got a really good base here that they could really build on if they want to do something with it. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.
That's good. That is better than I thought we were going to give it when I brought it.
100%. I still don't see anyone playing Dungeons and Dragons and drinking this beer.
No,
because quite frankly, I don't think these are... I think if you draw a Venn diagram of imperial stouts and D&D players, that the interacting point would be like the lines that just barely touch each other. They're not really working in the same world.
No.
Okay, so next up we have Paragon
by Lervig.
2025?
2023.
Oh, 2023, okay.
So it's a barrel-aged barley wine.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, Paragon has become one of our flagship beers. What makes our barley wine special is that it is always brewed with the exact same recipe, but each edition is unique due to a number of factors. Barrel types and environmental factors, to say it briefly. In 2023, we used fresh, high-char Jim Beam barrels in which the beer matured for 1 year. We think the result is pretty awesome and can best be described as a Kentucky hug. Enjoy! It's a great year for Paragon. 13% ABV, and that's pretty much what it says. Best before 2029.
Okay. Well, I mean, so Paragon is one of those beers that I look forward to every year.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy the releases, except for the 1 year where it was
ropey stringiness.
Yeah, it was infected and was quite off. But it's always a treat. And this again is from the Rack House imprint that they put out.
Exactly. This is Paragon 2023 by Rackhouse, because there's also off the rack Paragon 2023 that has a completely different label.
Yeah. This is the traditional Paragon label, or close to it anyway.
Exactly.
Right. This is a straight up bourbon barrel aged barley wine. Yeah. There's all of your smelling notes are there, and carbonation is incredible. It just looks so good. Mm-hmm. A lot of sweetness, a lot of caramel. It's a little too cold still. I think that the bourbon barrel aging is a little too subdued. Yeah. Because of that, we give it another 15 minutes or so. I think it's going to open up quite a bit.
Or holding it in your hand a little bit. But caramel is really the defining word here. It's one of the more caramelly beers I've had in a long time.
This is very much in the English barley wine style.
And sure, when they're good.
Yeah.
There are some English barley wines that are caramelly and meh.
Yeah, but the English barley wine tends to go towards caramel, whereas the American barley wine tends to go more towards hops.
Yeah.
I think this is a very good example of an English barley wine. And I'm trying to warm this beer up in my hands because it is a little too cold. So I think we're missing a lot of the tasting notes on this one.
Yeah, before we started recording here, we took this beer out of the fridge, and in order for it to warm up, we tried a separate beer, which happened to be a yuzu rice lager. And the problem was, that wasn't good enough to keep us entertained for long enough.
True.
If it had been a better beer, this one would have been warmer when we started recording this episode.
Having said that, this is, again, everything I expect from Lervig. Lervig stouts are like a lot of their other styles. I think are kind of hit or miss, but their stouts and barley wines really, they've got that game on lock.
Yeah,
and I think in the tradition of the other Paragons, this is a very, very good vintage.
Definitely. So we each bought one bottle, and we decided now to open yours. I had a weird run-in with this beer at Systembolaget because I ordered, when it was released, I put in an order, I'll buy these 10 beers. Then I got a text message saying, unfortunately, we cannot deliver Paragon to you because of inventory constraints. Like, okay. So I checked it on their website, and my local Systembolaget, where I was supposed to pick them up, had the beer on its shelves.
Well, normally if you can't order from that Systembolaget if they have it on the shelf.
Exactly. So they must have stocked that after I put in my order, and then they must have ran out in their regional warehouse. But the Systembolaget had it on their shelves. So I went there and I said, hello, I have a delivery of beer to pick up. And he picked it up and he said, oh, but unfortunately, there's one beer that has been struck from their list. And I said, yes, I know. It's here. And I pointed at it and he goes, it's that beer? Because they don't pack them. They get them delivered.
Right.
He was like, but is that it? Yes, this is the beer that I'm not allowed to buy because of inventory constraints. And he goes, but that's good. And I was, yeah, that's good. Now I can buy this off the shelf because I've already gotten I've gotten my money back for the one I ordered. Like, why go through this carousel?
Yeah, I don't understand. I guess because since they pack it in another place and they ship it, but I don't understand why. Like when it arrives at your local Systembolaget, they can't just go, oh, here's the one you're missing.
Exactly. There's one beer that wasn't delivered. It's on our shelves. And there were many of them. There wasn't just like, it wasn't an inventory hiccup.
Yeah.
And that was a real...
I think that Systembolaget is becoming the better Systembolaget in Malmö.
That's because both you and I ordered to it.
Well, no, because when I go to Hansa to find stuff, which is kind of the premier one, it feels like they're missing half of the things.
Yeah.
And I guess if you hit the three big ones, which is Hansa, what's it called? Södra
Södra Förstadsgatan is the one in the
by Triangle
Shopping Center.
Right. And then if you get Helia, then you got the three big ones, and they will have everything you're looking for.
Yeah.
But quite often, none of them have all three things. It's quite frustrating.
I'm lacking a good way on Systembolaget website to search for stuff that's only locally available. Stuff that's...
Yeah.
So my sister...
You can do Sweden, but you can't do, like, Skåne.
Exactly, and you can't do released in Stockholm only.
Yeah.
So my sister is turning 50, and she's having a big party. She asked me for help, like, what kind of beer should I stock? And I searched through what was available at Harris Systembolaget, and there was a lot of good stuff. It's going to be a great party. But I also found, just by searching specifically there and going through the entire list, there's a Stockholm brewery called Gröna Linjen, the Green Line, which is a reference to the subway lines.
Subway line, huh?
I've never tried anything from them.
Never heard of them before.
I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
But you can only find them by going into that Systembolaget store and just scrolling through all the 400 beers. That makes no sense. Just show me the local specialties.
Yeah.
And Malmö has its own. Hylje Brewing. Yeah. If you go somewhere, you want to try the local specialties. But they really... And they mark them on the shelves. Local. Don't force me to look at every shelf centimeter. That's stupid.
That's what they want. Because they can't encourage drinking. So they can't make it that local or that special.
Because they would be premiering the local stuff over the imported stuff.
Correct. Therefore, so the thing with Systembolaget, which the monopoly is really nice because they can supposedly buy stuff at a cheaper price because they're buying at a national level. But they also can never run sales, discounts, or any kind of specials or promotions. So the most you get on a shelf is something that's marked new or something that's marked local. And that's about it.
Exactly. But local could be, it's a very wide word. But this is really good.
Back to this. What would you give this?
4.5.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
Maybe higher.
Yeah, it's so good. It's, again, very rarely disappoints. This was an exceptional year. Easily a 4.5.
But I think I have given some previous years 4.75s.
I've probably given them a 5 before as well.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it just depends on, I don't know, the day, how I'm feeling. Sometimes the difference between a 4.5 and a 4 and a 5 could be just the moment you catch me in. But I think this one is a easy 4.5.
Then there are special variants.
Yeah, some of the variants are definitely a step up. But this one...
There are a lot of 4.5s historically.
Yeah. It's just always so good, and I always buy it. It's one of my favorite releases of the year. So forget Putty, forget all the other special things that come out of the year. Paragon is always my excited to see that is on the shelf.
Yeah, 2019 was a year I gave it 4.75. And 2020, I think, was the stringy ropiness.
That sounds right.
Oof.
All right.
18, I think, is the first year they made Paragon.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't know.
Okay. Well,
was I supposed to know anything else?
We'll call it a day then. So you can find us online.
It's a great beer.
It is
I
a great
really
beer.
like it.
Yeah. You can find us online at What's Up That Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you find podcasts, you can find us. So until next time,
keep drinking, you dumb-dumbs.